all you beautiful people out there, what is going on? This is your friend Birdie coming at you fast with another Beast Builds video for Paragon, and today we're going to be looking at GRIM.exe, the very sexy robot of grave, gnarly, yes, that word starts with a G, gashing, ganking godliness. There we go. I've made that up just now. Let's go. Okay, so we're actually going to look at a build, and I want to start this off by, yes, I know he came out Tuesday. Today is Thursday, if I'm not going crazy. Yes, it is Thursday, May the 12th. And I have an awesome build for you guys that you were probably not expecting, and that is why I took a little bit, because I was playing him. I was trying to find the very best build, the very best deck, and the very best play style possible with him, and I ended up finding it. Now, I've gotten a lot of suggestions, whether it's through comments or from people I know, and from stuff that I saw, was to go with just a really generic build for an ADC, which I'm going to show you here right now. This is not the build, okay? This is just what I started with. You know, you have your Reaper's Key, your Agoran Scepter, your Riftmagus Scepters for your crit chance. You have the crit bonus from here. You know, you have your wards and your keys. You have Curse of the Leech being your lifesteal and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's very generic. And I tried playing with them, and to be honest, Grim just gets outmatched by all of the other ADCs. Which is why, utilizing his ganking ability, utilizing his crowd control abilities, it is best to build him tankier. And that is what we're going to be going over today. Now, I got to give credit to my homie GT's Make Cry 456 for bringing up this idea in the first place. We were just chilling in the lobby, and he's like, you know what would be good on Grim? Building him tanky. And he gave me that idea, and I was like, you know what? That is actually really smart. I'm going to try that out. So big credit to him. I would not have been able to get this idea without him. I never even thought about it until he brought it up. And I'm like, okay, let me go try it. So this is that build, and I just finished a game where I went 12, 2 and 14, 26 to 2 KDA 13.0. So it's a very, very good build if you know how to use it right. The guide will come out after this video comes out shortly, but we're going to start with the Beast Builds video. So the very first thing you want to have as your prime card is the Archmagus. You are going to build the Archmagus one, not the Centurion. Okay, or Archmagus. I don't even know how to say it right. Archmagus? I don't know. Guys, please don't grammar Nazi me. Please. I remember my very first video where I was talking about Gideon, not Gideon, and a lot of people blasted me about me saying Gideon instead. So it's Gideon. I got you. Now let's go into the equipment. So you want to start off with either a Reaper's Key or a Sorcerer's Ward, depending on your situation, depending on who starts off with what. For those of you who don't know what wards are, this one specifically is a Shadow Ward, which means you get 2 charges. Okay, you get 2 charges of this thing, which are basically like Scout's wards, but they're invisible unless they are revealed by other wards or stood inside pools. I will make a video. I still got to make that video about how useful wards are, but definitely either have a key if your teammates don't have enough harvesters, or have a Sorcerer's Ward. Either way, you're just going to start off with one or the other. If you do start off with a key, I also like bringing along a health pot, just so I can stay alive longer along the way. Okay, so there we go. So that's the very first item. That's what you're going to start with. Okay, that's your starting item. So your very first equipment item, we're going to call this equipment item number 1, is going to be a Agoran Scepter, actually. It's going to be a Agoran Scepter, and you're going to slot this with 3 regular casts right here. 3 regular casts. That's what you're going to slot it with. Not 3 major casts, 3 regular casts. Now, you're not going to be doing an insane amount of damage as Grim, but you will be tanky enough and you'll be supportive enough to where if you're fighting with even 1v1, you could be able to kill somebody if you were at the right, you know, if you hit all of your shots and they miss all of theirs, excuse me. And especially if you're in a team fight, you're just going to be the great support man / ADC guy, crowd control guy that there's ever lived. And that is Grim's calling. He's really good at that. So we're going to go Agoran Scepter. Then we're going to go Riftmagus Scepter. And we're going to put 3 major wounds into here. Okay, 3 major wounds. We're going to end up with a 48% crit chance on him, which is not the greatest, but it's also pretty darn good for what we're going to be using him. And that's it. We're going to leave it at 48% so he can consistently hit it about every other shot, which is definitely going to happen in a fight. And then he's going to get the 50% crit bonus from the Agoran Scepter, plus the energy damage that it brings. Now the third item is going to be situational because this is where we're going to start building him tanky. We're going to go with either Tempered Plate or Toon Barrier. And we're going to go with 2 of the defensive items. So if it's Toon Barrier, we're going to go with 2 greater barriers. And then we're going to go 1 greater health. And that's how we're going to do it for Tempered Plate as well. So for Toon Barrier, once again, we're going to go 2 greater barrier, 1 greater health. For Tempered Plate, we're going to go 2 greater guard, 1 greater health. Okay, so this gives him a little bit of health, it gives him a little bit of guard and barrier, in fact, not just a little bit, but a good amount. Not as much as if you were a steel by no means, but you deal way more damage than a steel ever could, so that's your plus side. Now for item number 5, you want Curse of the Leech, which is actually a 4-point card. So what's going to happen at this point is you're going to, if you started with the Reaper's Key, this is where you would substitute your health potion to get 1 extra point, and now you can afford it. You can afford the 4-pointer. If you have instead the Sorcerer's Ward, then you might just end up dropping it and then picking up the Reaper's Key later on in game, because then you will actually have a perfect amount of 60. Okay, if you do come across the point where you don't want to drop your Sorcerer's Ward, then you can actually end up slotting this with a lesser drain besides 3 greater drains. But we're just going to assume that you went with Key in the beginning, and now you're going to slot that with 3 greater drains. You're going to slot Cure of the Leech with 3 greater drains. I'm going to replace these 2 minor casts with 2 lesser drains, so it's not as confusing. So like I said, I'm going to repeat this one more time. If you started with Ward and you do not want to drop it, and you know when you level up you get 3 points, let's say you don't have 1 point for this 4-point card, so you level up again, now you have 6, right? So you buy this 4-point card, that leaves you with 2 points, and you're going to spend your 2 lesser drains on those as those 2 points, and then 1 greater drain. Okay, just do the math, guys. It's pretty simple at this point. At this point, you should be pretty flawless when it comes to the math. And at this point, if you've done everything the way I said, if you slotted all the points correctly, you would have slotted all 60 of your points flawlessly. Okay, and you would still have either Sorcerer's Ward or Reaper's Key right there, and that's it. I do have an extra Riftmagus Scepter just in case my calculations go off somewhere, so I can get a bit more damage and a bit more crit chance, but that's about it. So I will leave it in the description of the video as always, but in case you missed it and in case you don't want to go reading, you start off with either Reaper's Key and a health potion or Sorcerer's Ward. Your next item, or your first actual equipment item that you'll get after you're starting, is your Agoran Scepter. Okay, Agoran Scepter, 3 regular casts. Riftmagus Scepter will be the next item, 3 major wounds. Okay, the third item will depend, but let's say we go with Tempered Plate. It'll be 2 greater guards, 1 greater health. Toon Barrier, 2 greater barriers, 1 greater health. And then Curse of the Leech with 3 greater drains if you started with the Key in the pot. And you just substitute the pot in to be able to buy this. If you started with the Sorcerer's Ward, you wait for another level, and then you buy this, and you go 2 lesser drains and 1 greater drain. And there's your build. Pretty tanky build, pretty beast build. Damage-wise, it's also pretty beast, as you will see in the guide. Make sure you guys check that out so you can see it for yourselves on how to play Grim as a tank-ish ADC. And yeah, stay tuned. If you did enjoy this video, if it was helpful, if it opened up your eyes, if it cleared your mind, drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, because I know I came to a flippin' epiphany when GT, my buddy, mentioned this, and I was like, oh, I gotta go try this, and it ended up being freaking amazing. So let me know how this works for you in the comment section below, and as always, make sure y'all have a wonderful day.